Hi, I'm AJ Sicignano,
I'm Daniel Borg.
and our current events topic was the key to retaining the best employees for your company.
Why is that important?
It's important because like you want to make sure like you have your best employees working for your company, and if you say an employee wants to leave because there's better like incentives with other companies, competing companies, you're basically taking away the best employees from your company, and it's helping your competition.
Okay.
So here's a little summary of the article. First, when unemployment rates drop below natural levels or at natural levels, it creates incentives for employees to leave jobs because employers are looking for better employees and they aren't in the unemployment market. So they're trying to pull employees away from jobs they already have into the ones that their companies need to fill. And it makes it difficult for companies to retain their best employees because they often offer higher pay and better incentives to switch companies. And the goal of employer is to make a job from a productive employee into a long-term career because this just furthers the growth of the company in general. And the thing that companies have to do is make it hard for good employees to leave because you want the employee to feel more like they don't want to feel just like an employee. They want to feel like they're in a sense of something bigger than just a job.
So, why is employee retention important? Kind of answer that with your first question, but employee retention allows long-term growth within the company where organization and employees views align. So it's kind of like they're working towards the same goal. Everyone has the same goal in mind. So they're working together, like the higher management, like the lower employees, to achieve their best goal and the company best operates. And if a company is successfully able to retain their best employees, it prevents their competitors from poaching them. So overall, it keeps them within the company while it doesn't give any advantage to their competitors.
One of
And
the
also,
things, just let me just jump in here. I thought one of the things that when you look at the current generation of workers, that they never saw themselves staying with the company. People have seen that the only way they're going to progress is jumping from company to company and not be with a company for a long time. How does this square with something like that?
uh, with that view, it for the company itself, they got to like keep training new employees over and over again if that's how the employees view that they need to advance. But if the company can and like tell the employee if you work hard, you're loyal to the company, that you can advance, I think that would be a more incentive for like the lower level employees to stay at that company if they know that
Okay.
there's a easy, not an easy path, but like a path to progressing to higher leadership within the company.
So it's not just it's retaining them, but also providing the growth opportunities for them.
No, yeah, that would that because if you said that the only way that they can grow is like switching companies and doing that, then with providing that opportunity for each lower level employee, that would help the retention of them so that they don't need to jump that ship so they can ultimately just stay in one company their whole career.
Okay.
And then if the company is able to retain their employees, it shows that many people either like working there or that the company offers good incentives for the employees that they aren't willing to give up if they do switch a company.
All right, so there are a few ways that you can retain employees. The first one is to bring colleagues closer. The idea of this is to have the colleagues within the work environment meet outside of the work environment to grow close
Hmm.
bonds and feel like a sense of community. So that if they do think about leaving, they're like, oh, I have to leave all my friends behind because you don't ever want to just leave your friends to switch something that you don't know anybody at the place. So you want to build a sense of community so that people feel like they need to stick together. Another way is to show employees what they need to do to advance. So we talked about this a little bit already. It's like if you provide opportunities for them to grow within the company and not have to leave the company to get a different position, it'll help retain employees. So if a manager or boss can sit down with an employee and say like, if you can do this and this, and put this on your resume or something like that, you'll have better chance to advance within the company and move up over time. And then another one is that you want to make the work environment inviting and feel like a place they want to be. So a lot of companies have moved from like the square offices into like open office environments. This kind of like it was a good idea and it like is good for collaborating, but it kind of makes it feel like everyone's desk is the same and nobody like has their spot in the company. Where like the cubicle offices, like that's your cubicle, like you can make it how you want and stuff like that. So a lot of companies are moving back into things like that, where you have your space and you can customize it. And that makes it a lot harder to leave. Or like if you can be productive in this one location and it feels like it's a room in your house or something like that, then it makes it a lot tougher to leave that environment than it would be to just pick up from a random desk and walk away. And then the last one is you can extend the company into the lives of the employee's family. So the goal of any company is like if you go home and like you talk to your wife and kids or husband and kids and you're like, I'm thinking about leaving this job and like moving to another one, is they're like, oh, I'm gonna miss like this company for this reason. So you want to be able to like not it might sound kind of bad, but you want to like impose the company onto the family of your workers. So like if you work at a tech company and like you have like a quarterly or yearly event where like you can bring all the families together and have like a big day where you can have like TED Talks and you can have like different events. Like in the article I was talking about like they had a jujitsu lesson and like I think it was copper working like art lessons with the entire family that you can bring. Like if you could do that, it makes the families want to stay with the employee because it thinks they have their best interest in mind.
Okay.
Then also in the email you sent us, you included like explain why like change in behavior is hard for bosses. So one of the reasons why bosses could be opposed to changing is because that they worked towards that leadership position that they obtained. So they could feel that the methods that they use to get to them that position are the best methods, and that they haven't came out with better methods to work towards those leadership positions, and that they're like the only way to achieve that. So when lower level employees that work under them bring new ideas to them, they could be they could shut them down because they go against about how they got to that position. So it could be like reluctant to listen to those new ideas and opinions from the lower level employees.
And therefore, if that's happening, I'm not going to want to work in that environment and I'm going to leave.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this is
because
tied in. So to make the transition to try to recruit people, it requires a change in behavior for bosses.
if the boss was more opening and willing to listen to those ideas, they would definitely be able to retain their employees better because it gives them a sense of like a voice, even though they're lower in the company. But if they feel that their bosses and upper level management listen to their ideas, they could feel welcomed at the company and that they're an asset to the company while they're just not saying stuff and then it goes in one ear out the other.
Okay. People watch what you do as opposed to what you say.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then how can we use this information to be more successful? The information that we gathered from the article as a whole, it allows us to retain the best employees, creating a good work environment where employees can successfully grow within the company by receiving better incentives and also expanding the new areas of the business. And for us in particular, as Dan and I look for job opportunities after college, it allows us as future employees to look for incentives and growth opportunities within the companies that we apply for, and see where we could be in the next 5 or 10 years, and if there's actual growth within the company, or is it just going to be at one level and then it's going to be like that steady level with no growth opportunity. And if we are able to eventually reach those leadership positions, it could give us an idea of how we would be able to retain those lower level employees and give us a sense of what would keep them there. And we could also use like the experience that we gathered while currently that what we are looking for and market, and we can use our experiences to see how the future job applicants would want, like what incentives they would want, what growth opportunities and what environment that they would want, to that they feel that they need to stay in that company and not switch to competitors in other companies.
A lot of this sounds a little bit like Dr. Deming and what we talked about in Theory X and Y, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yet this is a current article.
I think stuff like this will never change. You're always trying to keep your best employees, and there's always chances that you're not going to. So by keeping ahead of it, you'll be able to keep more employees at a better rate than you would without.
What'd you learn from this exercise of looking at the article and trying to take a look at it and what it means?
I learned that there's like a lot more that maybe companies do that you don't realize is trying to keep you there.
Mm-hmm.
Like by having like the family outings or like the days where like all the families can come together and stuff like that. I didn't realize that that was like a way that companies are trying to keep you as like at their company. I thought that was just like a nice thing they would do, but I guess there's never just like a nice thing they do. It's always for a reason.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Do you think employees don't always trust their employer?
Yeah, when like I see like if there's like problems within the company, it's more prevalent if like you don't trust your employer. But if everything's going well in the company and you're, moving up and stuff like that, I feel like there is a lot of trust. Um, but like once you break the trust, like it's hard to get it back. So
Yeah. Great. Thank you.